Nothing like just staring up into space from the sky roof that I have. Seen so many stars shining so bright, and they shine so bright, and it feels alright. Huh? Oh! I didn't know you guys were here. How you guys doing? Let me just get popped up. How you guys doing this fine evening? Feeling good? Feeling ecstatic? Feeling spectacular? Well, guess what? I am gonna give you that. Yeah. Let me test you that. Hi guys, how are you doing? It's me, Adele Kurosaki. Yeah, look at you. I look at you, look at me. So today I felt this needs to be in order. Let's do some watching. Let's watch some videos together. This is the show where we sit down together and watch some videos and having some fun. Because we are a family. The League of Stars. How beautiful it is to be here to make you guys happy. Anyways, let's do this. But first of all, I need you all to do something for me. You see what channel we're on? Horror Shorts Party. I need you all to press this button for me. Subscribe to their channel. They put a lot of work into their videos. And I just want to say, they are beautiful. They're worth watching. Because they put a lot of work into it. And their voice actors are so amazingly talented at what they do. They deserve the praise for everything they've done. So I need you all to help them out and subscribe to Whole Shorts Party. Let me just turn this all the way up and we can get started. But remember to press subscribe to Whole Shorts Party. Please. It means a lot to them. In the darkness I go. To the light. Okay. You ready? Let's get it. Alright. Hold on, let me make sure my headset is alright. Alright. Oh, I need to also go over here. Alright. Let us begin. What's the first video? True Babysitting Horror
This is a story
Story.
that took place when I was around 18 years old. I still get the creeps just thinking about it.
I love.
Mental...
Oh my god. Okay, hold on. I just want to say this is actually really good animation. This is really amazing animation. I love how this looks. Like, I love the artwork they do. I'm in love with their work. I don't know what's about this now, so I just wanted to point it out. The animation is amazing.
Trauma I endured from the horrendous depictions of what transpired several years ago still appear in my head from time to time. I currently see a psychiatrist to help ease the mental anguish, as I now have a tendency of spasming out during my sleep from the nightmares that manifest every night. It all started when I was in my freshman year in college. I was studying to be an accountant, which was relatively difficult considering the overwhelming amount of math that went along with it.
Really good thing.
I worked a lot of jobs on the side, apart from doing school full-time, such as being a part-time cashier at a coffee shop located in the building of my school campus. Getting paid minimum wage obviously didn't suffice my financial situation, which is why I applied to various jobs online for the latter part of my downtime during work. Paying off student loans wasn't an easy thing for students coming fresh off high school like myself, which is why I would take any small gigs I could get my hands on, like mowing the grass or shoveling snow during the wintertime around my neighborhood.
He is a
I even
really
started
good
babysitting
kid.
for any close friends or relatives of mine, which is why I
He
tended
works.
to ask around the family, and
He
even went as far to
alone
ask my fellow
and
colleagues,
babysits.
despite the obvious desperate aura I gave off.
Really good
I
kid.
realized that babysitting was the perfect gig for me, as it gave me the opportunity to focus on my schoolwork, while the kids were usually masqueraded in the background, playing their video games or were asleep in their beds. There was this one guy in my class named Jack, who I would usually do assignments and exam preparations with, who referred me to this one babysitting gig he was fond of. "Hey, do you still need a babysitting job?" "Of course, dude. Do you have any?" "I do. My dad's friend has been asking around for anyone who wants to babysit his kids." "Hell yeah. Sign me up, dude." "Well, there's a catch. One of the kids is apparently older than us, like in his mid-20s. "What the hell?
He kinda looks
Why
like
would I
me.
babysit a grown man?" "Well,
I have this
not
in
to be
here.
rude, but he is a little cuckoo. I even remember babysitting for them one time, and it was definitely an interesting experience." "How so?" "He's just a weird individual.
What does he
Imagine
mean
a
by
5-year-old
that?
in a grown man's body. That's how it was like, but at least his parents paid me pretty well." "How much?" "About $200 a night. Plus tip if you did a great job, or if you make it out there
This
alive.
sounds
You still interested?"
sketchy.
Sure, dude." That's when Jack sends me the contact information of the family, as I sat and pondered if taking the gig was a smart idea. I couldn't help but think of my school loans, which is why I highly considered taking the job, as I was in desperate need for any extra income without too much interference in my
his
schoolwork.
school loans.
Regardless or not, I ended up saving the details on my phone and began sitting through the rest of the class lecture till it was time for dismissal. I remember taking public transit when heading home, as I decided to give the number a text, asking if there was any demand for babysitting services readily available.
Oh, Lord.
The number texted back, asking who I was and how I got their number. I then responded with my name Matt, and how my friend Jack referred me. The individual then asked if I could babysit for a duration of an entire weekend, which consisted of 3 days.
An entire
and 2 nights.
weekend?
I was honestly hesitant on taking the deal, but eventually
Wow!
came to terms with it, as the thought of $200 a night
What is
plus
this,
a
to be
tip was
king
a
of
bargain I
Freddy's?
couldn't turn down. When the day finally came to fruition, I made my way there by taking an Uber and getting dropped off at the address given. As I approached the front of the house, I could see a vague figure staring at me from behind the curtain of the window upstairs. I assumed that it had to be the older son my friend Jack was talking about. I casually approached the doorstep and began knocking on the door, only to be kindly greeted by the parents and the younger son of the family. Hey Matt, it's nice to meet you. Hey, listen, I left you guys around $200 on the kitchen counter, just in case you wanted to order something. Awesome, thank you so much.
That
You guys are
moolah!
coming back Sunday morning, right? Yes, sir. I'm sure you'll have a blast taking care of my children. Is there any other kids I should be introduced to? Yes, of course. Here's my youngest son, Timothy. And our oldest son, Charles, is probably upstairs watching TV or something. Charles! Come downstairs and say hi to your babysitter!
Me no like strangers.
Get down here or else you're grounded.
Leave me alone or I call cops.
Sorry for the inconvenience, Matt. You'll eventually run into him. He's usually more friendly when you get to know him. That's alright. I just hope he doesn't mind my company.
That guy
That's when the
kinda
dad and
sounds
mom
like,
abruptly zone out, as if my statement had triggered a gaunt emotion. I was a little puzzled at their stare, as it legitimately looked like their souls had left their bodies. That's when the dad snaps out of it and says, I think you guys should be fine. Me and my wife need to go and celebrate our anniversary now, okay? Just don't forget to fill the Chihuahua's dog bowl when it's empty and call me if you need anything. Alright, Matt?
That brother sounds like he's a bit
okay,
cuckoo.
Throughout the day, I spent
like
the latter
what Jack
part of my time
said.
studying and working on school assignments, while the younger son Timothy played video games on his PlayStation console in the living room. I found it quite peaceful.
Like me,
as the
I
son
would do
didn't
that.
require much maintenance, nor did the other son, who was allegedly still upstairs in his bedroom. As the sun
Thank
began to
goodness
set,
me.
I couldn't help but fix myself a sandwich, as my stomach began to rumble. I remember
Yeah, you sound
asking
hungry.
Timothy if he wanted me to
Really
fix him
hungry.
something, but it was pretty evident that he was too invested in his video game, while simultaneously chomping on a bag of chips he had sitting
Like
next to him.
me.
That's when I made it to the kitchen and began spreading peanut butter and jelly on a slice of bread on the counter. I then saw a family portrait sitting next to the windowsill of the kitchen. I noticed it was a picture
I'm
of the
sorry.
parents, Timothy, and of course their older son, Charles, who happened to skyscrape over the entire family from how tall he was. I was a bit taken aback that now I was faced with the responsibility of taking care of a grown man of his stature, considering he was older and a lot bigger than I was. As I surveyed the kitchen, I began to see more family portraits, except the majority of them had another younger boy in the photos. That's when I began to head back to the living room and couldn't help but ask Timothy
That's
who the other boy was in
kind
the
of
family
weird.
portraits. Timothy then responds with, His name was Max, and he was my older brother who passed away. I'm sorry to hear that. If you don't mind me
Oh.
asking, how did he die? Apparently my Rottweiler bit him to death while my parents were out of town, which is why they had
Oh
to
my
give him away to the Chihuahua.
god!
Oh my god. I'm so sorry. If I tell you something, do you promise not to tell anyone? Yeah, of course. What is it, kiddo?
Yeah, of course.
I don't believe it was the dog. I believe it was Charles that killed him. Why do you say that? Because he's a spoiled brat and I hate him. Why do you hate...
Why you talk about me?
Leave us alone, Charles.
Me no like him. And me no like you.
Hey, it's finally nice to meet you, Charles.
Calm
My
down,
name is
Charles.
Matt.
No, it's not. Your name is
Calm
Liar.
down, Charles.
No, Charles. My name is Matt.
You liar. You believe him and don't believe me.
Charles, I do believe you. Okay? That's when Charles made
Calm
his way
down,
back
Charles.
to his bedroom upstairs, while intentionally pounding his feet
Thank
on the
you,
staircase and yelling stuff like,
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Charles.
You let Doggy kill baby Max. That's why he died, you liar.
I then offered to play video games with Timothy, while Charles began making
Good idea.
destructive noises like banging his fists against the wall. I was
Really?
honestly terrified, but I tried disregarding it, as I wanted to comfort Timothy, who was visibly upset and shaken from the whole confrontation with Charles. The time was around 12 in the morning when it
Wow,
was time to head
Charles.
to bed. I remember tucking Timothy in his bed sheets, and then discreetly walking past Charles's bedroom, in which I could vaguely see him staring at me through the small opening of his door. Hey Charles, do you need me to get you anything before bed?
Yes. Me want you go get cup of Timothy's blood.
Sorry, Charles, I can't do that.
Me want to
no.
drink your blood then.
Charles, please stop joking.
Ah!
It's funny.
Me no
Yeah.
try to be funny.
Calm down.
Me just want revenge.
Revenge? Revenge for what?
Me want revenge for Max.
That's when Charles slammed his door on my face, as his intimidation had me shaking to my
Wow.
core, as I began stumbling to the guest room in fear. I then crawled under the bed sheets and honestly couldn't help but think of what Charles meant by revenge for Max, and why the hell he would ask for a cup of mine or Timothy's blood. Nonetheless, I disregarded the bizarre encounter and began watching some movies on the television to hopefully lull myself to sleep. About an hour later, I had awoken from my sleep from a loud thud in the hallway. I decided to check my cell phone for the time. That's when I saw about 100 missed calls and texts from the parents of the boys. I was a bit annoyed at myself, as I could tell that they'd been trying to reach out to me since their initial departure, but my phone was irresponsibly on silent. I then scanned through the messages and could see texts saying stuff like, "Don't forget to give Charles his meds before bed," or "Please find the meds sitting
Oh
on the
my
table.
god!
He needs to take 2 tablets
He has
before bedtime
medication?
every day." That's when I immediately
Oh
got
no!
up from my bed to head to the kitchen.
Oh!
As I opened my bedroom door, I could see
Ah!
standing next
Oh!
to Timothy's bed, covered in blood. I
Oh!
could also see the walls and ground of the hallway smeared and stained as well, as it honestly looked like a bloodbath or a scene pulled from the horror movie The Shining. Charles, what the hell happened? That's when Charles gave me a sinister smile, with blood all over his mouth. I began to zoom past him and into Timothy's bedroom. I then saw Timothy laying on his face, his face obliterated, and his chest cavity opened up. As he viciously tore his limbs to shreds. His internal organs were scattered all over the bed, while his bed sheets were completely
Oh! Oh! Oh!
soaked in blood. I noticed the Chihuahua was sitting next to Timothy's remains, while whimpering heavily, as if it was just as appalled as I was.
No, 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 no! The dog ate him.
Oh my dear Lord! True babysitting
This
horror story
happened
2.
about several years ago when I was 17 years old. I was running some errands for my parents, as I wanted to take some stress off of their shoulders from the long work week they had been through. There is a local supermarket about 10 minutes away from my house, so I would usually shop there at the expense of their convenience. My dad would usually text
I
me a
love
list
the
of
animation
items
in this
and would
one.
give me his credit card.
It's
I was a graduate
beautiful.
fresh off of high school that didn't have a job. I honestly didn't even know which direction I was heading at in regards to my career endeavors. The final months of high school were usually exciting to most, but was extremely stressful for myself, as the uncertainty of my next chapter in life always lingered in the back of my head. I can recall picking out some canned foods from one of the grocery aisles when my shopping cart unexpectedly bumps into the cart of another individual. That's when I saw this large, older-looking gentleman with a beer belly and scruffy beard on his face, mugging me as if I had killed his dog or something. I then noticed a pair of cracked prescription glasses sitting on the ground.
Oh boy!
I realized that the impact from the collision must have caused the man's glasses to fall from his face.
Oh boy!
As awkward as the situation was, I picked up the cracked glasses and handed it over to the man as I apologetically said, "I'm sorry, sir, it was an accident."
These glasses are useless. I definitely won't be able to drive home using these.
"I'm so sorry, sir, I didn't mean to."
Did you come with Mommy and Daddy, or did you come alone?
I came alone, sir.
How did you get here? Do you drive, or did you take the bus?
Okay, now he's being creepy.
I just walked here.
Well, I'm going to need your help in
Creeper.
order to get home. Can you please bring me to my place? I won't be able to drive without my glasses.
How am
Oh,
I
boy.
supposed to bring you home if I don't have a car? Do you need me to call you an Uber or something?
Kid, I don't want to crash my car. Do you have a driver's license?
Yes.
Well then, you're going to need to drive my car so that I can go home and get my other pair of prescription glasses. Then I'll drive you home, okay?
I never felt so appalled. At the time, I was young and naive, so I got the impression that I had no choice than to oblige to the man's request. As we got in line to purchase our items at the checkout, I noticed the man purchasing several packs of baby formula, diapers, and bibs. I assumed he was a harmless dad who genuinely couldn't see with the correct prescription glasses, so I decided to brush off any skeptical thoughts of him potentially being a creep and proceeded to buy my items following the man. We then walked towards his vehicle and put our items in the back seat of his car while I began to second-guess my decisions. I already came this far. I'm just gonna drive him to his place and then be on my way home right after. This shouldn't take long. It'll only be a couple minutes tops. Everything is going to be alright.
I hope so.
The gentleman's vehicle, the man says,
What are your plans tonight?
Dropping you off
not
and then
another
going
son.
home.
Did you mind babysitting my son? I have to run back to the store and grab more groceries since my shopping time was cut short from you breaking my glasses.
Sir, I can't really do that.
Don't worry, it'll only be for about 30 minutes to an hour max. I'll make it quick.
Sir, I
I
really
hope
need to
so.
go home.
Please, kid, I'll give you $100. Just please keep an eye on my son. I promise.
Oh, boy.
It won't take long.
I honestly felt like the man was intentionally trying to bribe me, but at the same time, I did feel like his story had some genuine aspects that made it more believable than not. Again, I stupidly buy into the man's request by saying, "Sure, but please just make it quick." It was about a 10-minute drive when we finally reached the destination. I can recall seeing a five-story
hope he
building
makes
that
it
looked
quick.
run down.
Jimmy be
It
quick.
looked like one of those buildings that
Jimmy
had an
be quick.
establishment below it, where the
Your
residents lived
contents
above it.
always be your
I also
guide.
saw an exterior staircase on the side of the wall where the windows were, like the building was some sort of old establishment that I wasn't used to seeing around the area. I remember leaving my groceries in the back seat of his car and making my way up the staircase and into his residence. As we opened the door, I got a repulsive whiff of a foul smell, almost like the house hadn't been cleaned in months. If I had to compare it to anything, I
Oh!
would say it was identical to a combination of farm manure and expired cheese. I felt like I wanted to vomit.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
I began to question how a toddler, or anyone for that matter, could withstand such a rotten stench on a daily basis.
My
Exactly!
son should be in the last room to the right. He's probably sleeping now, but when he eventually wakes up, just feed him the baby bottle in the fridge.
Okay, can you please?
Be right back, kid. I'll see you in a few.
The man abruptly shuts the door and makes his way to the grocery store while I stand in one spot, oblivious on what to do next. As I sat on the worn-out living room couch, I began questioning myself again as to why somebody would be comfortable with leaving a complete stranger alone with their newborn. I could then see
Exactly.
a portrait on the coffee table of the man and his son. I felt a little
I
confused
feel bad
as
for
to the
him.
baby pampering, considering he looked around 10 years old. That's when I heard a loud, tussling noise coming from the baby's bedroom. I immediately got up from the couch and began to cautiously walk my way towards the room. I could hear my heartbeat pulsing through my veins as I could slice the tension in the room with a knife. I slowly placed my hand on the doorknob. I counted
Oh, God.
1, 2,
Two.
and opened the door at 3 in one swift
3.
motion, only to see the window completely opened. I then noticed there wasn't a baby. Just the same man from earlier, wearing a diaper and a baby bib while having a pacifier in his mouth.
Oh, hell no!
What the hell is going on? I thought you said you were going to
Yeah!
the grocery store. The man spits out the pacifier and says,
Baby want milk.
"What?" He then got out of the baby crib and approached me while yelling,
Feed me milk or baby kill you.
Okay!
"Please don't hurt me, I'll feed you."
Oh!
I then
What
ripped
the
kitchen
freak is
snack
this?
bottle of baby milk from the fridge as a man awkwardly follows behind me. He then yelled,
Now sit on the couch and feed baby.
My heart began to race at 1,000 intervals. I couldn't help but feel sick to my stomach, but I felt like I was being held for ransom at this point and didn't know what the man was capable of doing to me. That's when I sat on the couch and
Oh!
feed the man the bottle of milk as he cradled up on my lap like a newborn getting breastfed. It was pretty evident that the man was sick in the head and had a baby role-playing fixation. He then got up and said,
Yeah!
Baby need diaper change.
Oh, no, thank you!
Baby make pee-pee. Now change
Ah!
diaper now.
Ah! 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 Ah!
I then saw a
Ah!
diaper and onto
No,
his
thank
body shot.
you!
Leave me alone or I'm calling the cops. The man then went into the kitchen and grabbed a large kitchen knife as I sprung up from the couch and began sprinting towards the same bedroom.
Ah!
I immediately locked it and could hear the man violently screaming.
Oh, dear Lord!
at the door.
Open the door. Baby just want milk.
As I make my way towards the window, I could see a child's rotting corpse laying inside the baby crib. I quickly make my way down the earlier stairs and sprinted in the direction of where the grocery store was. I went inside the store, began to purchase the same items I had initially picked up from earlier. I then called my dad, who ended up picking me up from the store. We casually talked, and I surprisingly was able to act like everything was normal, as if the incident was now water under the bridge. When I arrived home, I crawled into my bed. I couldn't help but wonder if the corpse in that baby crib was the same child I saw in the family portraits. And why the hell did that man pretend to leave, only to run up the exterior staircase and dress up like a baby? As I share my horrifying story with the world, I beat myself up from time to time.
Oh my god!
And address the situation with my parents. I just hope that man seeks some sort of help. It's a traumatizing experience we shared. It was a tale I lived to tell about.
Oh, it's just the third one.
This was a story that happened when I was around 7 years old. I vividly
Again,
remember it
I
as if
love
it
the
happened
animation.
yesterday, as the
It's
occurrence still
beautiful.
made me nauseous to my core just thinking about it.
It's
It
all
all started
unique.
when my parents
I
headed
like
out of the
that.
house to go to my dad's work dinner. They usually hosted these types of events occasionally, or at least when someone from the firm had retired. I personally enjoyed it when my parents left the house to head to special occasions like this, as I didn't have to hear the constant nagging of household chores needing to be done. Every time they needed a babysitter to do the job, they always got my older cousin Jenna to fulfill those obligations, as she had babysat me numerous times in the past. They even got my neighbor Ariel to occasionally check up on her house, as there was a high volume of
That's
missing children
smart of
being
the
reported at
parents.
the time that this story occurred.
That's really
I remember
smart.
the time was approximately 7 p.m. when my cousin Jenna arrived to my house. My parents briefly gave her a quick runaround, and then eventually started making their way to the work event. Jenna and I then went into the living room to watch a few episodes of SpongeBob. And then played a few video games
SpongeBob!
on my PlayStation console. As the night progressed, Jenna told me that her boyfriend was going to stop by for an hour or two, and that she wanted to grab some wine from the liquor store before he arrived. At the time, I couldn't care less what Jenna did, as I honestly wanted the liberty of enjoying
You
my
kinda
video games
sure
without any
care?
further distractions. I remember Jenna politely asking.
Hey, did you want to come with me for the ride?
I kindly brushed Jenna's invitation off with a simple, "No thanks," as I continued to play the video game I had completely indulged myself in.
Okay, suit yourself, kiddo. I'll be back in about 10 minutes tops. And whatever you do, please do not open the door for anyone, okay?
I then nodded my head yes, not taking my eyes off the television screen, as Jenna closes and locks the door with the spare key my parents had given her. I remember hearing my tummy rumbling from the lack of food I hadn't eaten for the day, so I decided to head to the kitchen and grab a quick snack.
Yum, yum,
I got from the
yum!
couch and heard a loud
Hey,
stood up on my TV. At the time, I had completely disregarded Jenna's advice to not open the door, as I was thoroughly convinced that the person knocking was Jenna. I opened the door and surprisingly saw my neighbor Ariel. I politely waved at him and said, "Hey, what are you doing here?" "Josh, where did your cousin go?" "I don't know. She just went to the store to buy something." I was a little taken aback, as I could visibly see him sweating profusely, almost
Are you
as if he
okay,
had come from a
Ariel?
workout. He then frantically said, "When is she coming back? And why did she leave you home alone?" I don't know. She said she'd be back in about 10 minutes or so." "Touch it." "What?" "Touch it. I want you to touch it, or else I'm going to tell your parents that you answered the door for a stranger."
What?
"Touch it."
What?
Time, I
What?
was too
Oh my
young to
god!
comprehend what
Oh
was
my
going on.
god!
So I said, "Touch what?" That's when my cousin began to pull into the driveway and immediately rushed to our front porch, as she assumed something was wrong due to my neighbor's appearance.
Guys, what's going on?
My neighbor then nervously responded, No, nothing at all. I just stopped by to make sure that you guys were safe."
Okay.
He then
Dear God,
said,
Ariel!
"You guys have a great night,"
Dear
as
God!
he casually made his way inside his house. Me and Jenna then went inside the house and continued to play video games as if the encounter with my neighbor was water under the bridge. Throughout the rest of the night, I remember pondering what my neighbor meant by touch it, and how he completely switched up his demeanor the moment my cousin pulled into the driveway. I was honestly too naive and shy to address the bizarre encounter to my cousin,
I am
or
not
even my
even going to
parents
say
for that
yes.
matter, as I didn't know what was right from wrong, considering I was only 7 at the time. Fast forward several years later, and it was then reported that my neighbor had been taken into custody by law enforcement for torturing and holding children captive in his
Oh
basement.
my
It was
god!
rumored that he was allegedly known for gaining the trust of parents from around the neighborhood and preying on their kids while their parents were out of the house. I'm now finally grown up and still think about that night from time to time, as it still sickens me knowing what his true intentions were during our interaction. As I share my story with the world, I just hope that no young child opens the door for any stranger knocking on the door, even if it's your neighbor.
Yeah! That's a really, really good point. A really, really good point. So here is the 4th babysitting story.
This is a bizarre story, but I swear it's true, and my girlfriend can back me up on what I saw that night. My girlfriend had a babysitting job out at this country house in the middle of Nowheresville. The place was surrounded by woodland, and a good 10-minute drive from the nearest town. No neighbors or nothing. The prospect of staying there overnight all alone kind of creeped her out, so I, of course, agreed to head over there after work and spend the night with her and the kid she was sitting.
And he's kind of cute too, my lady.
The silence of the area was kind of creepy, to be honest. There were no crickets or rustling or even any wind. The place was just without sound, if that makes sense. That sort of thing is a little eerie in the daylight, let alone at nighttime. So the night rolls on, and my girlfriend puts the kid to bed. We decide to chill out for a couple of hours and watch a movie that's playing on TV. I can't remember what exactly. We're both relaxing and cuddling up on the couch. All of a
Oh, this is the night. It's a beautiful night. And we call it the Bella Noche.
sudden, we both hear the front door open. Whoever opened it wasn't even trying to be quiet or conceal their footsteps in any way. In this really silent setting, their boots sounded like dumbbells hitting the floorboards. It got even louder as whoever it was made their way down the hall and towards the living room.
Oh, Bonnie!
Here's the strangest part. Both my girlfriend and I feel perfectly calm, not freaked out in the slightest. We have no idea why, but it doesn't even occur to us to be scared or concerned. We felt weirdly peaceful, unnaturally peaceful. The person walks into the room. It's a large man, around 40 years old and well built. He strolls in without hesitating, and then just stops and turns his gaze towards us. This smell of stale cigarette smoke hit the both of us immediately. Still, we didn't react at all. We remained perfectly calm. He stared down at us with wide eyes, not blinking. We looked up at him as if him being there was the most natural thing in the world. My heart wasn't racing or anything. He had this sort of cowboy presence, if that makes sense. That's the best way I can describe it. Relaxed, but austere and
feeling the
serious.
same as Tom, to be honest.
But dangerous. He wasn't wearing stirrups or a cowboy hat or anything. Just jeans and a shirt. A little facial stubble. Dark rings under his eyes. "Can we help you, sir?" I asked him, genuinely. He drew a big breath. "Don't go out in those woods tonight. I'm taking someone. It shouldn't be you. Understand?" Okay. We'll wait until morning then. I said.
Okay.
He nodded, turned, and walked back through the hall.
Thank you very much.
We heard it close behind him, and he was gone. We went back to watching our movie as if nothing had happened, then went to bed without a care in the world. It wasn't until the next morning, when we both woke up, that we realized just how disturbing that entire encounter had been.
Yeah, that was
We
disturbing.
couldn't seem to work out why we didn't feel a thing when he walked in. We asked the kid if he had a family member or someone he knew that fit that appearance. He didn't. We asked his parents later, who also didn't know anyone like that. They got pissed at us and asked why we didn't call the police or call them. We didn't have an answer. 12 months later, news broke out that a skeleton was unearthed in those very woods. The police started digging around the area.
Wow!
A week later, the skeleton was discovered. In the following months, bones belonging to 5 separate victims were dug up from the earth. God knows how long they'd all been down. Ever since then, there's been a police presence in those woods. I don't know who that gentleman was that came into the house that night, but my girlfriend and I both saw and heard the exact same thing, remember it in the exact same way. Why did both of us feel so peaceful that night? So unconcerned?
Yeah!
It was a strange and chilling experience that we'll never forget, but I'm grateful it wasn't us that he took that night.
Okay. This is the
I was
last
about
one.
13 or 14, and I was
Number
babysitting
5.
2 boys for some church members. I'd done it before, and the kids loved me, and the parents were very comfortable with me. This was a night where they were going to be gone until something like 2:30 in the morning.
Wow, that's kind
I
of
was
really
doing it
late.
for free that day, because they were going to do something church-related, and that's just how I rolled. Anyway, the house they lived in was an apartment complex. You know, one of those small ones that had 2 floors and 4 places in each spot. They're on the bottom floor, with 2 bedrooms on either side of the apartment, a kitchen on the left and a living room on the right, with a sliding glass door to the patio and a public bathroom next to the front door. It was about 1:30 in the morning, I think, and I knew they'd be getting home soon. The kids were knocked out, and I'd finished my homework. They didn't have cable, and this was before Netflix became an online service.
Oh,
But
cool.
they did have a couple of DVDs and VHSs to watch, so I
Black
grabbed the Land
Beauty.
Before Time to make the night go quicker.
That's
I
one
was
of my
already
favorite
very
horse
tired
movies.
and had nodded off a couple of times. Around 2 a.m., I could hear
Oh,
the front door. Knowing the parents had a key, I did nothing but sit there in the dark with the TV glowing. Being a paranoid person, and one who watches and reads a lot of horror, I grabbed the baseball bat that was next to the couch.
That's smart. That's really
What
smart.
happened next will haunt me forever. I heard a small voice, almost like a young woman's. Oh dear, that won't help you. My heart stopped, and I realized the patio door didn't have the blind shut. My eyes shift slowly to the door, and I see someone on the patio, staring in. I couldn't make anything out, other than they were very short and wide. I screamed and ran into the kids' room. Thankfully, they were still asleep. Unfortunately, this was before I had a cell phone, and there were no cordless phones in the house. All I did was push the dresser in front of the door.
I hope it's under the house.
That's when it became dark, as a shadow loomed on the window. The knocking stopped, and the woman's voice called out,
What was that?
"Come on, dearie. I won't hurt you. Please come out."
No, no, no!
I was afraid it would break. The kids finally woke up, and they were screaming and scared. I was a big girl, and could at the time lift my own weight, but knowing I had 2 kids with me, I became vulnerable and afraid. Within 2 seconds, I hear the father yell out, "Hey, who the hell are you?" The person ran off. The front door opened, and there was harsh knocking on the kids' bedroom door. Thankfully, it was the parents, and after I let them in, I put the dresser back and explained what had happened. They called the police.
Thank goodness me!
When they arrived, they found nothing, but the bushes that hid the patio had obviously been cut and torn to make a path. I babysat for them one more time after that, but they moved away 5 months later, and I never babysat anyone ever again. To this day, every time I hear a knock, a chill runs through me.
I had to take a deep breath, Stan. Hovercoats Party, keep up the great work, guys. Your shorts are amazing. Keep up the great work. I really love you guys. Like I said, keep up the hard work. And not just that. The artwork is amazing. I'm astonished by how beautiful the animations are that you do. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. And if Hovercoats Party also saw this, I love you guys. Seriously, keep up the great work. Your shorts are amazing. You, Hovercoats Party, you are truly talented. Keep up the great work. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see some more, please let me know and I'll do more. Because I have lots of fun doing this. And as always, Astro, blast that like button. And keep chillaxing, relaxing, and don't stop believing. And most of all, I love all of you.